Sorry to disturb you, Albus, but I've just received troubling news.
Tell me, what is it?
It's Grindlewald.
The time is closed, my brothers and sisters. Our war with the Muggles begins today!
The world as we know it is coming undone. If we're to defeat him, you'll have to trust me.
Mr. Kowalski, we need you.
I said I want an out and I want out.
You do know I'm a witch, right?
Dumbledore asked that I give you something, Jacob.
This is the team that's going to take down the most dangerous wizard in a century. Who wouldn't like our chances?
No one can know everything, not even you.
What you're doing is madness. With
Hello,
you'll burn down their
Trinidad
world.
the Island Man, your Island Man, coming to you live once again from beautiful Hawaii here on the island of Oahu, bringing you, yes you, the best movie reviews on the entire island of Oahu. And yes, this is Trinidad the Island Man, your Island Man. And last night, well yesterday, Saturday, opening weekend of Fantastic Beasts 3, The Secrets of Dumbledore. I went ahead and I saw it, and I wanted to give you my review. Remember our rating scale, shock a thumbs up. It's good to see, I recommend it. Shock a thumbs down, it's junk, I don't recommend it. And, well, for Fantastic Beasts, The Secret of Dumbledore, it is a shock a thumbs down. Now let me just caveat that by saying that this is by far the best of the Fantastic Beasts series as far as adults go. Now, I never saw the very first Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them because it seemed just like a little kidsy movie, pretty much, despite where they were trying to set up a more adult theme. That theme didn't really take place until The Crimes of Grindelwald with the second movie, Fantastic Beasts and the Crimes of Grindelwald, where Johnny Depp played Grindelwald, where we really didn't see a lot of his menace. We saw a lot of his sneering and mustache twirling, if he had a mustache, I guess, in the movie. But, you know, as far as being really evil, yeah, he wasn't a nice guy. He didn't talk to a lot of people, it seemed, but overall, still, it just didn't seem like, you know, he was that menace that Voldemort was. And I guess that's the major thing. I mean, you know, overall, you know, part 3, Fantastic Beasts and the Secrets of Dumbledore still runs into that same problem that the second movie did. Whereas, you know, we had heard that Grindelwald was the big bad up until Voldemort in the Harry Potter series came along. And we had seen all the way through every single movie of Harry Potter how bad Voldemort was, and it just got worse and worse, and we could see his evil. Here in the Crimes of Grindelwald, we never really see, just, you know, we hear about it, but we never really see how mean Grindelwald can be. I guess the meanest thing he did was to Don Fogler's character, that he stole Queenie away from him, his bride-to-be, I guess. That's pretty much the meanest thing we've seen him do. There was talk that he killed some humans. You know, there was that famous scene with Johnny Depp and the baby in The Crimes of Grindelwald, that it's like, well, you know, did he kill that baby? Did he not kill the baby? You know, I guess it's assumed he killed the baby. But, you know, it's like, oh, he was just looking over it menacingly there. You know, not enough for me personally to connect the dots. And that's where I was back then with it all. So when it comes to this one, I was expecting great things. And now, again, to caveat that this movie, has fantastic people in it. Jude Law, we finally get to see him sink his teeth into the role of Dumbledore. Crimes of Grindelwald, he was just kind of, you know, a cameo here and a cameo there. In this one, he actually has something to do. Same thing with, you know, now the new Grindelwald, Mads Mikkelsen, actually gets to perform and say, you know, some lines more than just looking menacingly, which he really does, you know, at least to the same amount as Johnny Depp. I do have to say that I really liked Mads Mikkelsen in this. Now, I can't really say that I like Johnny Depp as Grindelwald, because in Crimes of Grindelwald, he really didn't do anything. So we never really got to see him in the role. Had he been able to stick around in the role and do what he did in this movie, especially playing off of Jude Law, when those two are together and you get, you know, more of the backstory of their past romance, you know, and love for one another, which they do state. You know, Dumbledore comes right out and says, "Hey, I love you, Grindelwald. Can't we put this all behind us?" And Grindelwald says, "No, we must kill all the Muggles," essentially. So, you know, it was really good on that fact. And I would say the standouts in this movie are Mads Mikkelsen, Jude Law, and Don Fogel. You know, and to say that this is a shock of thumbs down is in no way a reflection of their performances, because they do an excellent job. Eddie Redmayne, I'm still not sold on, you know, this Newt Commander guy. He just seems really inferior and just gets by luck, essentially. Maybe with the guidance of Dumbledore. I don't know. I don't find any affinity with this character at all. The beasts are cute, but, you know, I feel that they really tried to stuff it in there. It's like, hey, part of the title of this movie is Fantastic Beasts. We got to show some beasts, and they got to do something in the movie this time around. Because in Crimes of Grindelwald, they didn't really do anything, and it's like, why is this called Fantastic Beasts? Well, Newt Commander's in it. Yeah, but he's not a beast. He's carrying these beasts with him, but that's about it. Here, they actually do a couple of things. So it is, okay, you know, part of the title. But still, I feel like it is really squished in there. They should have had, you know, as far as the Wizarding World goes, should have had just Fantastic Beasts, Where to Find Them, their own, move into a different story without Newt Commander, because he really is ultimately inconsequential and not why adults are going to go see this movie. It's mainly for Jude Law and Mads Mikkelsen. And I think couples will be happy and surprised to find that they still move towards Don Fogel as much as they do, as much as I did, because he is, as the Muggle in this character, the person we in the normal society can relate to. That being said, again, it falls short, the story, as far as will we get to see Dumbledore? Do we get to see Dumbledore and Grindelwald square off? There is, again, a little skirmish like we had gotten in a little bit of the Harry Potter's movie, where a couple of, you know, magic bolts are thrown back and forth between the two. But that big fight scene that we want does not materialize in this movie, and it feels like this is the last movie. I mean, we all read the books. We know how it ends for Grindelwald, and, you know, by the hands of Dumbledore. We were kind of hoping to get a little piece of that in this movie, but we don't. I don't know. It just felt like, okay, we can be done with the Fantastic Beasts series, and now we can move on to another storytelling line in Fantastic Beasts. That's just how I felt with it. As far as the rest of the cast, everybody but Eddie Redmayne does well. Not that they're given that much to do. I guess, you know, the new teacher, that is brought into this one does the most, along with Newt Commander's brother. They do a great job and they team up. There are some action scenes where they are teamed up with one another against some of Voldemort's, or not Voldemort, Grindelwald's villains. Some of which you see in the trailer. Basically a fast draw between those two and like 6 other evil wizards that they take out. But again, ultimately, it all fails because they are snuck up upon. Just like Newt Commander, again and again, he is knocked out in this movie. And just seems to be, it just seems to be really wimpy. As far as being our hero, you know, I mean, at least Harry Potter was plucky. And I don't recall Harry Potter getting knocked out so many times. Maybe he didn't win in the fights. Maybe he got defeated. Maybe he just fell short. But, you know, he wasn't like, you know, it's like, hey, get out of here, kid. Whack. You know, you're bothering me. All the time, like Eddie Redmayne's character seems to be. So it's hard for me to root for a hero that is so inept. Basically. And I find myself drawn to all the other characters in this movie other than Newt Commander. He really didn't seem to be the focus of this movie and why he was still in this movie. Other than that it's part of the Fantastic Beasts. Just move away from that. We are here to see Jude Law and Mads Mikkelsen Dumbledore versus Grindelwald mainly. We will be pleased by the developments of Don Vogel's character, which turns out to be kind of a bait and switch from what we see in the trailer with this wand that he gets. And I would like to see if this wizarding world from Warner Brothers in the Harry Potter mythology continues, maybe a focus on him and his point of view still continuing to work in the wizarding world. Maybe, you know, he could be like a substitute teacher at Hogwarts. An HBO Max series could be a really good thing for this. I don't know. This movie just overall did not work for me. Plus, you know, it seems a little too dark, just like Crimes of Grindelwald, for little kids who want to get into the Harry Potter brand. So it's hard for them to get into it. It's harder for adults, I think, for this movie because it feels very political. Again, you know, the big bad Grindelwald, he makes political moves. He moves to become the head of the head mage of the magic ministries, I guess, for all of the wizards, and to basically become the president. It seemed very Trumpian to me, and he does some underling things to reach those goals. You know, very much like, oh, well, you know, we saw this with Trump. We see, you know, whereas the Crimes of Grindelwald made motions and views of World War I, World War II. This continues setting off directly in Berlin, almost at the start of the film, where Grindelwald is expunged of all his crimes against the Muggles like it didn't matter. And we see him kind of rise up to power to run for this political office. Run, as it is fixed by him to achieve it. Very much like a Hitler-esque kind of character. Unfortunately, you know, this plays out again in the real world as well as maybe a Putin-esque kind of thing with the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And I think against that backdrop, it becomes very hard and uncomfortable to watch this movie and hear Mads Mikkelsen, yes, as the evil Grindelwald, we know he's evil, talking about expunging all the Muggles, you know, and only keeping pure blood wizards in the world, and getting rid of all the rest, and hating the Muggles. We even see some, you know, really dark magic in this, darker than anything we had seen in Harry Potter before, where he actually uses the blood of one of these fantastic creatures. To his credit, very Doctor Strange-esque kind of like his character from Doctor Strange 1, Mads Mikkelsen, to really, you know, put this fix in kind of a long con for the movie. But it is very interesting to see how Warner Brothers has decided to take this. They said, oh, we really need to show some teeth for Grindelwald. And in that aspect, they do. But again, it just isn't enough overall. And I wish we had seen more, and especially direct with Jude Law against him in more of a physical role. There are some conversational conflicts that they have, you know, with one another. But still, ultimately, it just kind of fizzles out at the end, very much like, but not as bad as Crimes of Grindelwald, whereas the only big action scene was right at the end and then the movie was over. At least you have a good middle action scene for the middle second half of this movie, but again, it's not exactly what we want with a, you know, mano-a-mano Dumbledore against Grindelwald, which I think the audience deserves after being, you know, the third or at least the second follow-up movie in this entire series. As far as the secrets goes for all, it was no secret Dumbledore loved Grindelwald and vice versa. You know, J.K. Rowling a long time ago with the books had come out, said Dumbledore was gay. Not a big deal. I guess the other one was, what the heck is Ezra Miller? How can he be a Dumbledore? Does this change that he had another brother? Blah, blah, blah. And no, he's a spoiler here, one little spoiler for the rest of this review, is that Ezra Miller turns out to be Dumbledore's brother's son that he had in secret, but didn't really know that he had. So he was like an illegitimate son from a relationship with a villager that he had back when Dumbledore was being romantic with Grindelwald. You know, Dumbledore's brother was actually having a romantic interlude of his own, but with a woman. And apparently that woman went away and had a baby. And that baby turns out to be Ezra Miller. And, you know, resented not being a part of the Dumbledore family. And that's the reason for his motivation and Grindelwald's to push him towards. Now, this is somewhat resolved in the movie very quickly. Well, not very quickly. It takes till the second half of the movie where you see that action scene that you've seen in the trailer with Dumbledore facing off against Ezra Miller. And it's very, like, you know, over quickly. It's very, this is one of the best fights, or the really great fight in this whole movie. And it's unfortunate that it ends so quickly and decisively, and kind of ultimately diffuses what they had set up at the end of Grindelwald and the Crimes of Grindelwald in the second movie, because it really takes the steam out of Ezra Miller's character. So motivation to continue against the Dumbledore family. So I don't know, maybe because of his trouble in Hawaii, his legal troubles, you know, and because this film was pushed, maybe because of the problems with, you know, in Europe right now, and Ukraine and Russia, but maybe it was also due to the legal problems with Ezra Miller that they wanted to shorten up his stint in this movie a little bit more, like they're having the trouble right now with The Flash. I'm not exactly sure, but it is very interesting how this played out, and how much they had focused on that at the end of Crimes of Grindelwald, and how much the air is let out of the bag or the balloon in this movie about that tension between Jude Law and Ezra Miller's character and his whole Dumbledorfiness, I guess. You know, honestly, I had thought that maybe Grindelwald was just lying to him, that he wasn't really a Dumbledore. Maybe it was a clone of Dumbledore, a shadow, maybe a Dementor, you know, which had Grindlewald had convinced truly that he was a Dumbledore, this Ezra Miller's character, but no. Just turned out to be his nephew overall. And that was resolved pretty much after that conflict. So again, not a terrible movie, still a shock, a thumbs down. Not enough to go out and pay to go see this movie, but definitely stream on HBO Max or VOD when it is available there. And I think you'd have a better time with it overall. All right, this is Trinidad the Island Man, your Island Man, giving Fantastic Beasts, The Secrets of Dumbledore, which was no secret, a shock, a thumbs down overall, despite great performances by Mads Mikkelsen, Jude Law, and Don Fogel. All right. Mahalo and aloha.